Alright, so look carefully because the screen is flickering a little bit, but welcome to Persecond, which is probably about the best time-lapse creation tool that you can get. And I simply love it for the simple fact is that while there may be some hardcore dedicated time-lapse apps out there, this is a really simplistic approach, and it's a lot more powerful than the way I've done it before, which is simply import the photos into QuickTime and then export them out as a video. So what we're looking at here is all of my images stacked into a single fluid video, and we're going to go through and trim up some stuff because Basically, I left one image in there that shouldn't be in there, and you can see it's the beginning of the first image that I accidentally imported. So what we can do here, and this is kind of a good thing because I really want to show you how you can edit these time lapses. All right, so inside of Persecond, you can pause it, which I'm going to do because basically it's going to give you a seizure if you keep doing this. So what I'm going to do is basically drag in my first frame, and what that's going to do is it's going to eliminate that first shaky image. And so now we basically have our first frame eliminated, so we've got some sharper images, and you're still going to get that sort of flickering from the sky, but we've eliminated that shaky image. All right, now the couple of the cool features, if you're wondering why Persecond is, as I said, probably one of the best apps for time-lapse, is because it allows you to trim the clip as I just did. We've eliminated just that one image, and it's very intuitive. We can drag in both sides, and we can clear up the animation here. Well, not the animation, but sort of the progress of the time-lapse. The other cool thing is that we can adjust the speed, and this is something that I really like because right now it is cruising along quite fast. We've got our standard 24 frames a second, so it's basically running at about 2 seconds, which for a Cinemagraph is not too bad. But say we wanted to slow this down a little bit, really increase the time. Well, now I've got I can see exactly how long the clip is before I export it. I've got how many frames per second it is. And I really, if you're making time lapses, you don't want to go too slow because you can see now, because this is technically kind of an animation, think of time lapse as a flip book. It looks kind of jumpy. So really what you want is to keep it up somewhere around the 24 seconds or maybe a little bit faster, just so that you can get that smooth transition. It's really up to you, but usually the standard 24 frames a second, and I usually just sort of play around and just see what seems the smoothest. Now the cool thing about this as well is you can reverse the flow if you so choose. So again, you can sort of get creative here, but if you just want to keep it normal, you can do this. So again, all of these cool features are sort of really packed into this one very simple tool that keeps you able to create these time lapses, not specifically for cinemagraphs either. You can use this for your basic time lapse, okay? Now, I just love using it simply because I can incorporate a clip like this into Cinemagraph Pro quickly and easily. So then all I have to do is just click Export and choose H.264, the same as you would for exporting out of Cinemagraph Pro, because that's going to give you the MP4. So click that and we'll go ahead and jump into Cinemagraph Pro. Now that we're in Cinemagraph Pro, we can see that we've got our time lapse here, and it's not really moving because I haven't really edited the mask yet, because there's one step that is essential. Now, of course, what we could do is basically edit away and just leave this as a looping time lapse, and that would be kind of cool. So let's see what this looks like. Now, again, remember there's quite a bit of flicker in the sky, so we don't really want to bring any of that sky in. Okay, and again, we're just sort of playing around and just seeing how this looks. All right, so let's see. All right, and if we wanted to, we could add in, if we want to see how cool we can get that rotating Ferris wheel in there, and let's just see. Okay, now essentially we've got our Cinemagraph here, and this looks pretty cool. And again, we've got a pretty cool time lapse. There are some issues with it, but I pretty much like this. Now, again, with any sort of Cinemagraph, we can import and export the still frame. But just to show you basically some cool features, we can play around with the crossfade. Okay. And then again, we've got some cool features here. You know, you can add in a filter. Okay, you can adjust your top frame there. Okay, and of course, this is kind of a cool cool Cinemagraph in itself. Now, what you can also do, as I said, I remember that picture of my hand that I showed you. We can jump down and bring that into Cinemagraph Pro as well, and I'll show you basically how to edit that. So I'm just going to export this one, and we'll see how it goes. So let's just export this, and I'm going to do H.264. Basically, I'm just going to bump this up to about, I don't know, let's keep it under 15 for Instagram. And we'll call this Samsan 3 and export it. And again, you can see how simple that was to get like a cool Cinemagraph. Okay, now let's get into a more heavier edited Cinemagraph. Okay, now I brought in the top image, and I've actually edited the mask a little bit just to sort of show you basically the overall process and to give it to you a little bit quicker. But if you're wondering how I did this, here's basically the process. Now what you're going to do is you're going to click on the image icon, and if you want to reset this, you can. But basically there's some delicate little bits of well, I'll show you anyway. So I'm going to click reset, and that's going to basically, I've got my mask still here, which is kind of a good thing. So I'm going to show overlay. And basically what I've masked out is the just the top half where I don't want the flickering, and my hand. Now I'm going to import my selected photo, which is this one right here. And if all goes well, it will match up exactly with my image. So I'm going to click import, and it's perfect. All right. So basically I'm going to hide overlay, and it's basically going to hide away the mask that I've made previously. But you can see the process here. So again, even if you've got a different image, as this one is, it's shot at a different focal length, you can import the same still, okay, from your files. And I've seen other photographers use a completely different image, not even shot on the same location, and just bring it in and mask around it. So this tool is basically very useful for these sort of product shots or conceptual type images, so you can use different kinds. And as I said before, because this is shot at a different aperture, I do have the sort of the blurring in the background, which can be an issue. And if we show the overlay, you can sort of see what I've done. I've sort of hid the tops of the trees, and I brought this in, and I've really sort of cropped in so that you can't really tell that, you know, there's two different apertures. Of course, when you look at it, especially at the top of the trees and stuff like that, you can sort of see where I've been playing around. But again, this is just completely open to your interpretation and your creative direction. And again, too, one of the cool features of Cinemagraph Pro is that you can crop it. As you can see here, I've cropped in quite a bit. But again, if I wanted to change the crop into a square and then drag this in so that it's more closer to, say, an Instagram kind of thing, we can do that. And again, that looks really cool. So if I click done, it's going to crop that, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, so that's not too bad. Okay, again, it's drawing more of the focus to my hand, which does kind of look like a weird shaped dog paw. Anyway, again, it's up to your creative genius on this one, but you can see now how powerful the combination of Persecond and Cinemagraph Pro is. Both of these apps are available if you get the Cloud Plus Apps plan, and do use my code Jason Teal to get that 20% discount. And with that being said, have a great day, take care, and good night.